This is what's called an Arbeits car, labor car. Once you start to work, which you're from the age of 16, you have to have this.
Oh, okay.
And then you get a visit from one of these people.
SS?
Gestapo.
Gestapo.
Yeah. You don't argue with me.
No.
I went up to the
Mark II. So now this was primarily introduced through the artillery in World War I because of all the shrapnel that kept coming down on their heads, and then the idea was to protect them. A lot of people seem to think that these would repel bullets, which they don't. They're not metaphoric. They're just
slot those on there, so he hasn't got around to it yet because it's going to be a bit of an undertaking.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, looks good. Yeah, it's propane operated, so.
Oh.
So yeah, just it.
Kind of. Yeah. Although he never went overseas.
Okay, so I'm going to number you off. Remember your numbers because they define where you go on the wheel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, this is an operation in 7 phases.
Well,
Our movements aren't that complicated. It's mostly phases to do with the vehicles. So if we look at how the numbers work here, right? So when we to sort out, first phase is the Vickers tank, which is pretending to be a Russian recon tank. Will come onto the field. Out to the vehicle wounded. So he'll crawl out of the vehicle and flop on the field next to it. Second phase, a Bren gun carrier, which is a Lend-Lease article. Most of the time.
And really the answer is, why did the Second World War happen? Hitler. Hitler's aggression. He kept thinking he could take and push and take and take and more and more. And for a long time, in trying to avoid a world war, we gave in. It's called appeasement. Mackenzie King, the guy on the $50 bill here in Canada, he was the Prime Minister forever. He was the Prime Minister from the 1920s to the 1950s. Oh yeah, he makes like Justin Trudeau look like a new guy. He barely started compared to Mackenzie King.
Tell me about today's event, if you can. Tell me, first of all, what really caught my attention. Tell us how different places honor Remembrance Day. You were saying Japan, Germany.
Different cultures look back at the wars differently. So for example, in Canada, our experience here is it's a very solemn occasion. Remember the sacrifice of the men who were killed and those who went, and even the ones who returned, and their families, and just what they put forward so that we can be free, that we have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, pick our own government, and so on. In the States, it's more a triumphant thing. It's in May, so the weather's different. The whole feel is more like a picnic. It's almost like a second 4th of July. So their version that they call Memorial Day is very different. Britain, of course, is just like us. In Germany, it's interesting because, of course, what do you say for all the people who had been killed in the 2 world wars, especially the ones who'd fought for Hitler in the more modern democratic society that now is Germany? And what they do is they say everyone is a victim of the war. So the guy who's killed on the Russian front fighting, and the person killed in Allied bombing in, let's say, a German city, and the person who perished in a concentration camp are all victims of the war. So very much a somber message they give there. And other countries emphasize it a lot, like the Russians do, and others not very much, like the Japanese don't.
I was saying one of the people that were here asked about the Japan, how Japan honors it, if I can say it.
And it's funny, there's an element in Japan that does honor the fallen. Like they have shrines and everything to them. Similar to like the cenotaph sort of format we do here. And then a lot of Japan sort of almost not denies it, but sort of brushes over it, tries to talk about modern Japan more than what happened and the atrocities. And often there's not even an acknowledgement of them by the Japanese government. People wanting compensation, like Korean women who were abused by the Japanese army.
What took place here on the field today?
So this was an example of how tactics and weapons of that period. And the example today was different than yesterday. Yesterday was Canadians and German tactics and weapons, and today was Russian and German tactics and weapons. So you were able to see things like fire and movement of infantry, artillery support, armored support, and just sort of how it all worked, as opposed to if you go to the War Museum in Ottawa, you see the vehicles in a garage, you see the guns in a display case and uniforms on mannequins. Well, here you're trying to bring it to life so people can learn a bit about their own and world history.
Silly question, I know. Why is this, and why is history important?
If you don't know it, then the old saying is you're doomed to repeat it. And to some extent, we're seeing an aggressive dictator in the Second World War in the name of Hitler. And bit by bit, he's picking off first the Rhineland, then Austria, the Sudetenland, the rest of Czechoslovakia, and so on, till eventually the world united to stand up against him. And are we seeing the same in Russia with Vladimir Putin? Are we seeing the same where he's taken Azerbaijan, taken parts of the Crimea, he's taken the eastern Ukraine? You know, is he the same? Is history repeating itself? Like, I like to learn from my mistakes and therefore react better to future conflicts. If you learn from the past, then you have to be more prepared for the future.
Weekends like this with the displays and everything are important. If you can just explain, it's important to show what was, what is.
Exactly, and then let people come out and see and touch and hear and feel. It's a more tactile and realistic experience. And if you talk, especially to the children, they'll say, "Oh, remember that year we went and saw all the smoke in the tanks?" They remember that stuff rather than you wandered them through some museum.